I'm seeing more and more people online saying, well, I voted for Trump, but I didn't vote to lose my job, and I didn't vote for a global trade war, and I didn't vote for Elon Musk to run amok in the government, slashing agencies and cutting jobs, and I didn't vote to see America's allies cast aside. Oh, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course you voted for that. You were perfectly happy to see all that happen as long as it didn't happen to you. And now that the leopard is eating your face, suddenly you've changed your tune. Well, you get no sympathy from me. You voted for that. You wanted that. So you sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. I don't care what happens to you. I just want you to feel the pain that you brought on yourself, because that is the only way you can learn.
Donald Trump, the greatest president ever. Listen to how bankruptcies are getting out of control under Donald Trump. You'll love it. Donald Trump is such a brilliant businessman, and he always wants to tell us how great the stock market is, and that's supposed to mean all the U.S. economy is going well. Well, it's not. Let me talk about bankruptcies, personal, corporate, and farm bankruptcies that are going on in the United States under Donald Trump. We're going to see how good it is. Personal bankruptcies at the end of 2025 for the year were up 11.2% under Donald Trump. That's December 2025. They were up 11.2%. Then through March of 2026, if you go back to the previous 12 months, again, because that's the latest numbers I have right now, according to the U.S. courts, they were then up 11.9%. So the number of bankruptcies were escalating as we get more into 2026 under Donald Trump's leadership. That's a really good job, Donald Trump. You're getting that number up, except Donald Trump, more bankruptcies is not a good thing. And somebody that's had 6, you should know. Let's talk about corporate bankruptcies, something Donald Trump really knows something about. Corporate bankruptcies under Donald Trump during the year 2025 increased 7.1% over 2024. That means it got worse under Donald Trump, not better. Likewise, through March of 2026, we see that the corporate bankruptcies also escalated to 11.4%. So they almost doubled under that same time frame, going back the previous 12 months under Donald Trump. Not a good thing, Donald Trump. Corporate bankruptcies going up. Now let's talk about farm bankruptcies. Donald Trump's leadership, farm bankruptcies, and this is the year 2025, increased 46%. What, Donald Trump? 46%. Again, I don't have any other numbers because that's the last of the numbers I can find for farm bankruptcies according to the U.S. court system. You know, under Donald Trump, the farmers right now, they're proposing in the House a $12 billion bailout because Donald Trump's tariffs hurt the farmers tremendously. They lost all their business because of it. And then because of the Iran war, they can't get fertilizer and can't afford fertilizer nor their diesel fuel. So Donald Trump got them on every way possible on that. No wonder farm bankruptcies are up 46%. Donald, you are doing a great job. All those numbers are going up under you except Donald Trump. More bankruptcies is not a good thing. MAGA, please blame this one on somebody else. Jump all over everybody. And I love all of your personal things that you say about me have absolutely nothing done to do with the facts of the situation. Under Donald Trump, the business situation is getting worse. More personal bankruptcies, corporate bankruptcies, and more family bankruptcies. Thank you.
Beautiful bill, Medicaid cuts. I'm for it because I'm an able-bodied American citizen right now. I'm headed to work. I work at least 40 hours a week. People need to stop just getting free benefits. If you can go to work, you need to go to work because we're tired of paying for everybody. So Medicaid cuts, we're here for it.
It's my mother-in-law. She worked 40 hours a week too at the same company for 32 years, and she was union, and then she got brain tumors and she lost her health insurance because if you're not working, you're going to lose your health insurance, and then Medicaid and Medicare kick in. Every single person is one tragedy away from having to be on Medicaid and Medicare. You're one brain tumor, one car accident, and for you specifically, looking at you, I can tell you're one heart attack away from needing Medicaid and Medicare. Now, I know that you think everybody that's on them is lazy illegals, but guess what? One day you're gonna need it and you're not gonna have it. And it's not you that's paying everything. It's people like me, the younger generation, that are paying for that for you, for her. Now, thank God that she had successful children that can subsidize her way of life, because Medicare and Medicaid, it don't cover it all. You're going to be in poverty forever, and you're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your home. You're going to lose everything that you ever worked for, and you're going to have to move in with your kids. So I hope that you have fucking rich kids, because you just made that little tiny entitlement that you're going to need fucking smaller. I would like people like you to think of the future. You're going to need it. For you, it's probably going to be a couple years, all right? Because I can tell you've probably been eating butter and fried chicken for the last 20 years.
So Trump just had J.D. Vance go out there and announce that they're cutting California off from Medicaid, $1.3 billion. People are going to suffer and lose their lives. This means that they are going to stop payments to nursing care facilities. Do you know what happens when the staff doesn't get paid? They stop showing up and people lose their lives. This means that people who show up at the pharmacy for their asthma medication, so they can breathe and live, they could be denied that inhaler. That also means that people with diabetes could be denied their insulin or their monitoring equipment. It means that children could go without medical treatments, resulting in lifelong medical issues. And if hospitals don't get their Medicaid money, they also stop paying their staff. So people either don't show up to work or they have to close these hospitals. They are going to cause chaos for no reason. And then he threatened the rest of the states. He said that if they don't fall into line and get rid of the corruption that's in Medicaid, he's going to let more people lose their lives. They don't want to take away weapons because, there's all these law-abiding citizens that would be affected by just a few bad actors, taking out all of our children in schools. But they have no problem cutting off millions of people, including children and veterans and the disabled and the elderly, from health care, because there's a few people who might be committing fraud, which you can address without, destroying the rest of the population.
Talking about that they should.
We're not talking about our worldview. Everybody's laughing at America because we have the weakest president we've ever had in the history. He likes everybody but America. Because he's crooked. He's gotten a lot of money, millions over the years with his son Hunter. But the thing of it is, Russia, China, everybody's laughing because we have no strength. We are not the America of 10 years ago. It's scary.
So we were stronger when President Obama was in office?
No.
That was 10 years ago.
No, yeah. Obama started this whole mess and started dividing us. When Trump came in, he started getting us back to our roots, back to loving America, back to helping get rid of the regulations so we can be more energy efficient. Now, look at, we're buying our oil from where? A foreign country, when we have enough here in this country to take care of us plus many?
Well, we've always bought our oil from other countries.
No, but we could produce more here. He's hurting big businesses. Look at what's going on. You've got big businesses that are going out of business. Did you hear about the drug? Not CVS, but one of them. Rite Aid. They're going out of business. They're closing over 100 stores.
That has nothing to do with being able to get stuff online and from Amazon?
No.
You started to talk about immigration. Tell me about that.
So who are these people in our country? They're not vetted, right? We don't know nothing of them. So
They're asylum seekers, essentially, right?
And that's fine. I love people. I love diversity. I do. I honestly, in my heart, I do. What I see on TV, what I read on the news is a lot of people getting bused from Texas, Governor Abbott, saying we cannot sustain all these people coming in.
Do you think that's PR and propaganda, or do you think you take him at his word?
No, I absolutely believe it, because the reason I say I believe that is because Governor Abbott, he's sitting there saying he can't sustain this. So if Abbott, he's not even on the border where Texas is, right? And if Abbott can't sustain the influx of immigrants that are coming, then what do you think is happening in Texas, where they're right there on the border? I mean, that should speak volumes. Right?
What do you think is the biggest danger in America right now?
The people pouring in from over the border. I mean, as he always said, and he has said for many years, the fentanyl, the terrorists, we've got enough problems with our own people, much less to bring in from other countries.
And what is it about? I mean, this is a nation of immigrants. What is it about immigration that gives you pause right now?
Well, it's not immigrants because my family came straight from Italy. So it has nothing to do with immigration. It has to do with the fact that they're not even checking these people. My uncle was not allowed into the United States when my grandfather came because he had an eye condition. Now they're just letting anybody come in. It's a free-for-all. You know, my biggest fear right now is nothing is in place, or I don't know if anything's in place, to not have the election stolen again. That's my biggest fear.
So you think it was stolen last time?
Absolutely.
What has been the evidence that you've seen that convinces you?
2,000 Mules, that movie, with people actually stuffing the ballot boxes, of people having bins of ballots underneath their desks, of them stopping when he was ahead and then all of a sudden he lost when everybody woke up the next morning. You know what? I mean, I'm no brilliant person here, but what I saw, and it's not just because I'm for Donald Trump, let the best man win, you know, but when it's stolen, it's stolen. And it was stolen, and like I said, I wasn't there, but I saw the movie of the exact things that were happening. You're not going to convince me otherwise when you see things.
That's Dinesh D'Souza's movie you're talking about. The courts have poured over everything. People from within the administration, Republicans who were state secretaries of state have said it didn't happen. What would it take to convince you that it was a legitimate election?
Oh, they would have to really convince me, because the bottom line is Trump was out and about and rallying, and Biden was in his basement. Biden did nothing. Did absolutely nothing to win that last election. He didn't. He did nothing.
So just because Trump was the harder worker.
Not just that. I mean, look at his policies. Look at what he did, how he turned this country around from the Obama generation. I never got the impression that Obama loved America. He was from this place and that place, and you know, do we really know where he was from?
Well, he was born in Hawaii, in the United States.
Right. He was born in Hawaii, but Trump, he was an open book. I know I sound stupid to the Democrats right now, but no, I think Trump, if he doesn't have something in place, the same thing is going to happen with Biden.
What would you say is the scariest thing that's happening in the country right now that no one's talking about?
The border with Canada is a major issue. You know, in the last 30 days, they've caught 6,000 people on the New England border with Canada. That's more than they have in the last 20 years. There was people from 72 different countries. So we're being infiltrated at all corners and crevices around this country right now, and that's not good. I mean, we're catching people on the terror warning list and things like that. So
isn't that good? That means that we don't have open borders, right? If we're catching people coming over.
So a Republican woman is in shock because she showed up at the hospital in Florida with an ectopic pregnancy, and they told her they couldn't help her because of the law, just like we said that they would. So she was so upset she called the governor, because of course when you're in the middle of a medical emergency you want to call a politician, but he didn't pick up the phone. And how many women had their governor's number on speed dial? So after several hours of begging and pleading for them to help her, like we said they'd make you do, they finally let her end the ectopic pregnancy before her fallopian tubes burst and she lost all ability to reproduce. And yet she's trying to blame this on Democrats. But we said that when you showed up at the hospital, they wouldn't ask you who you voted for, what party you belonged to, and they wouldn't ask you what your interpretation of the bill was. They were just going to go by the law. So her care was delayed. I'm very happy she got the care that she deserved, but it was delayed. And there are other women out there whose care is being delayed. And that is putting their lives at risk and their reproductive health care at risk.
Do you MAGA nurses, I can't believe that's a fucking demographic that exists, but do you MAGA nurses not realize that if these Medicaid cuts come through, you're going to lose your job? Like, nursing homes and rural hospitals and mental health facilities, those places are going to shut down. You're not going to have a job. Like, nursing, which has always been this safety net, like, oh, I can always find a job anywhere, it's gonna completely ruin it. Like, I know you don't care about poor people or elderly or disabled, but have some fucking self-preservation. Your cult is so embarrassing.
You will kill me! I'm HIV positive for 20 years! I have survived on my meds that are $10,000 a month! And really, you look at me
husband just got an email saying that he lost his job because of the tariffs. He's a cargo pilot. And we voted for the lady. We didn't vote for this. This is so uncool. It's like, what are they trying to do? Like, what is happening? I'm sorry that happened, babe. Are you alright?
It's alright. I guess I can
He'll look for another
get
job.
a truck driver's license.
Thank you, Donald Trump. You were such a great leader. You were just brilliant.
MAGA is having a meltdown right now, and Donald Trump is the reason, as he has betrayed his America First policies. Now, if you missed it, Donald Trump sent $20 billion to Argentina to help them through an economic difficulty and to try to limit Chinese influence on the country. And how did Argentina repay us? By immediately selling millions in soybeans to China, stealing U.S. soybean market. And MAGA is losing it because this is not what Donald Trump promised. He promised we would put America first. And now, because of his trade war that he has no plan to win, no idea how to win, he is betraying all of his promises. But think of this. MAGA, farmers, two voting blocks for Donald Trump are both losing in this situation. So the question has to be asked. How many more times will you believe Donald Trump? How many more times will you believe Republicans before you realize they're lying to you, except when they say they don't care about you, they just want your vote?
I didn't want to speak about this one yet because a lot of people did mention them, but I was not seeing anything from the owners because, first of all, their social media profiles are private. They don't have any donor history. Voter records are even I don't know. Then I went into their Instagram, who they follow. They were my first studio that I went there, but I already knew the vibes. They were very cliquey, a lot of people. So yeah, if you're a reformers or Pilates studio that is on the right side of history, please let me know. And I would love, love, love to give you guys a shout out. Side note, if I haven't done the business that you tipped me about, it's because their owners and their business don't have any political history to track, and also their social media profiles are private. This is where I need to be careful because I don't want to be sued for
Do not get free healthcare.
You could not introduce the idea of public libraries today.
You couldn't even bring up the idea of a fire department today.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a private fire corporation in every town, you could not get Republicans to vote to nationalize the service or make it public or make it funded by tax dollars, because that would take money out of people's pockets. That would take money out of shareholders' pockets.
A common argument you hear against universal healthcare is that you're not entitled to the labor of another person, which would be required for a universal healthcare system. Under the United States Constitution, you have a right to an attorney.
Not only an attorney, but a right to a jury of your peers.
Yeah.
Motherfucker, you get summoned for jury duty.
In fact, we can just say that this thing is a human right and therefore everyone has access to it. It's a thing we did 250 years ago. And to be clear, under a universal healthcare system, we're still paying the doctors.
Of course.
We're not enslaving healthcare professionals.
No matter what system you live under, you are paying for healthcare. Yes, there is no free healthcare, but right now you're paying for more expensive healthcare than you would be if there is just a single payer. Maybe the biggest single payer. Maybe the United States government.
The Democratic Party needs to champion universal single-payer healthcare coverage in this next election, in 2026 and in, of course, 2028 when we have a presidential candidate. It's the only way forward, man. People absolutely want it. Explaining it in a simple way where it's the government will cover everybody and it will be cheaper, I think will resonate with a lot of people. It's just an issue of, is the Democratic Party willing to push back against an industry that makes a lot of money off of keeping us in a perpetual state of suffering?
There is a groundswell of support for these policies that's going on that isn't being addressed by the actual party. The messaging for universal healthcare, for something like Medicare for All, for a single-payer system, should not stop and end at people going to conservative town halls and making fun of and heckling their conservative politicians. It should start at that, and it should end at the actual passage of legislation.
Y'all are seriously falling for this? Seriously? You are being manipulated into not caring that people are losing health insurance. MAGA was taking heat for Medicaid cuts, so they quickly pivoted, flipped the script, and said, no, we're not cutting Medicaid. We're just kicking those undeserving and lazy people off of Medicaid. Your lack of understanding about the U.S. immigration system and healthcare system is being exploited, and MAGA is trying to convince you that some people deserve healthcare while others do not. Immigrants without full lawful status are already not eligible for federal Medicaid. And the only reason some states have expanded their state health insurance programs to include these folks is because it's cheaper. It's cheaper to insure people than to not insure them. And these immigrants, regardless of their documentation status, are contributing to our communities. They are building our economy. They are paying taxes. There is no amount of creative math that can be done that only kicks undocumented people off of Medicaid and gets us to $800 billion worth of cuts. It's not possible. On the moral front, everyone deserves health care. On the financial front, bad health care will always be more expensive than good health care. And no one can make an economic argument that kicking people off of health insurance is going to save us money, because it won't. It is going to cost all of us way more money in the long run.
So I need like solid evidence that they are MAGA.
I think the hardest part about all of this is that middle-aged, I didn't think I could get fooled again by politicians, not after W, which I voted for. I voted for peace and independent parties every election since then. And I'm still processing the fact that I've part of the demographic that ushered this into power. Now we're sending our kids to die in war again. Over nukes. Not weapons of mass destruction. That was never going to work. It's full-blown, maybe potentially nukes this time.
A lot of Donald Trump voters regret their choice as financial pain eats some homes in America. So for millions of Americans, the economy is more personal than politics. So it is not about campaign speeches or television debates. It is about paying the mortgage, buying groceries, filling the gas tank, and wondering whether there is enough money left at the end of the month. And for some voters who supported Donald Trump, rising financial pressure has led to an uncomfortable question. So what they are thinking is that, do we make this right choice? They are imagining maybe they make the right choice by choosing Donald Trump. But this is the question I'm going to ask. Should voters judge a president mainly by their own wallet? Or are there bigger issues that matter more? So I would love to hear your opinion in the comment section. Because many Trump supporters voted because they believe his policy will strengthen the economy, create jobs, and reduce the cost of living. So they hope that prices would become more affordable and that business would grow. So those expectations were a major reason why many cast their vote for Donald Trump. However, some voters now say their daily lives has become more difficult, whether it is higher food prices, housing costs, or uncertainty about the economy. Some families they feel they are under financial pressure for them. So campaign promises are no longer enough for them. They want to see real improvements in their everyday lives. So at the same time, many Trump supporters reject the idea that he is solely responsible for current economic challenges. They argue that inflation, global conflict, supply chains problem, and decision made over several years have all contributed to this situation. From their perspective, they said it is unfair to blame one president for every economic problem. So here's another question. When the economic struggles, who deserve the most responsibility? Is it the current president, or the Congress, or global events? Because some political analysts, they normally say this often. What happens in every election cycle? When people are struggling financially, they begin questioning the leaders they support. it doesn't always mean they have completely changed their political belief. Sometimes they are simply frustrated because life is not getting easier as quickly as they hope. Yeah. So others believe patience is necessary. So they normally argue that economic policies often take time before ordinary families begin to feel the benefits. They say judging a presidency too early can give an incomplete picture of its long impact. Still, emotions are running high. Some former supporters are openly expressing disappointment, while others remain confident that better days are coming. The debate has become more visible on social media, where Americans are sharing personal stories about rising bills, shrinking savings, and concern about the future. So what would it take for you to change your vote? Would higher price be enough, or do other issues matter most? The truth is that financial pressure affects people regardless of the political party. Either Democrat, Republican, and Independent all feel the impact when everyday expenses rise. That is why economic issues often become the deciding factors in election. People may disagree on the cause, but almost everyone agrees what a stronger economic is. So in the end, the question is not simple. So let me say the question isn't simply whether Trump voters regret their decision. So the bigger question is whether Americans believe their financial future is improving. Because when families start feeling economic pain, political loyalty is often tested. And that raises one final question. If your finances were getting worse, would you stay loyal to your favorite politician? Or would you vote differently next time? So let us know that in the comment section below. Where do you stand? Thanks for watching, guys.